If you're having coffee with me, I'd welcome you to my tangle of words and invite you to feel at home. With the sweltering heat we're experiencing, it's hard to imagine it was raining a week ago. Now we're back to hot and dry. I'd offer you an ice-cold beverage, but there's no electricity, so room temperature beverage it is, or if you prefer, a steaming hot cuppa. It's November. Besides being the onset of the rainy season, culturally, the ancestors will be taking a sabbatical from the hard work of watching over us to do spirit stuff in the spiritual realm. While they are away, there'll be no protection from the less benevolent beings, which is why November is sometimes considered a cursed month, with so many horrific deaths happening around that period. Also, because the ancestors are resting, they won't entertain any pleas and intercessions, which is one of the reasons why traditional wedding ceremonies are not conducted in November, nor any cultural gatherings and ceremonies. If you're having coffee with me, I'll tell you that part of the tradition stems from our agrarian-based customs. November, with its rains, would be peak farming season, and families would be busy preparing the fields, cultivating, weeding, and all that. Taking time out to gather family for weddings and ceremonies would inconveniently impact on the field work, which would mean starving for the rest of the year. The elders, in their infinite wisdom, then made it taboo to not have said gatherings in November and save people from having to make hard choices and excuses. Another interesting thing about November is that's when the goats tend to breed, with most female goats coming into heat. Goats are called Mbudzi in Shona, and November is also known as Mbudzi, whose root might be in having a lot of goats giving birth in November. Goats play an important role in cultural ceremonies, from providing meat for food at gatherings to being used in traditional rituals, cleansings, and appeasement ceremonies. These ceremonies would likely involve the slaughter of said goats. Now imagine the imbalance that would result from the slaughtering of livestock in their breeding season, and the ingenuity behind making it taboo for activities that would require goats. If you're having coffee with me, I'll tell you that most people tend to refrain from having weddings and cultural gatherings as a cautionary practice, irrespective of one's beliefs in tradition. It's said that November weddings are likely to end in divorce, but there are couples still enjoying their marital bliss, so maybe it could only be a superstition. It's also said you're not supposed to install a new chief in November, as the ancestors will not recognize the chieftainship, or worse, it may stir their wrath. Colloquially, November is known as Dzunku month, which means confused and dizzy decision month, a retrospective look at the events and the march to the State House, which culminated in the resignation of the late former president, Robert Mugabe, in the coup that was not a coup. Some say this should have never been done in November, which is why everything about the country has been in a downward spiral from there. Even the rains haven't been raining as they normally do, plagued with drought, El Ninos, heat waves. Were I a superstitious man, I'd find the coincidences suspicious. There's something about the month of November. Maybe we shouldn't carry out any major events and generally should be more vigilant. Countries with elections in November and the messy run-up to them. Botswana recently had its elections, where the party that had been enjoying years of rule at the helm had poll results that indicated people had gotten tired of the party. Some people draw parallels to how countries still governed by revolutionary parties have been holding democracy at ransom, and change is inevitable. It can be peaceful by the ballot or chaotic and messy by the bullet. If you're having coffee with me, I'll tell you that Zimbabwe launched its second satellite today in November. The ZimSat-2 was launched as a part of a commercial rideshare mission, lifting off from a Russian craft. ZimSat-2 is equipped with a multispectral camera with an 8-meter spatial resolution designed to support Zimbabwe's agricultural sector. Through capture of high-resolution imagery, the satellite will monitor crop health, forecast yields, and identify areas of plant nutrient deficiency. Beyond agriculture, ZimSat-2's imaging capacity allows for identifying mineral resources. ZimSat-2 brings Africa's total satellite launches to 61. Our ZimSat-1 was launched on 21 November 2022, and by May 2023 it had quietly deorbited. And on that satellite technology, Elon Musk acknowledged the Starlink capacity issue in Africa and has offered reassurances that Starlink is actively working to expand its network capacity. What's been happening in your neck of the woods? What are your thoughts on goats, November, and stuff?